Good morning and thanks so much for tuning in. You're watching Trade Talk on BQ Prime. My name is Alex Matthew and with me is Hiral Dadia. Morning, Hiral.
Good morning, Alex.
Well, it's shaping up to be an interesting end to the current series. We've got the expiry of the series lined up for today. Lots to discuss, of course. If we talk about yesterday's session, you saw a very narrow range once again for the benchmark, but then quite a lot of action in the broader markets. And in fact, most of the sectoral indices managed to gain ground. The one laggard was the banking sector.
Absolutely. It was interesting to see how the banking sector actually gave up gains in yesterday's session and the way the markets actually climbed and the kind of profit booking that we saw in the last hour of trade. That was the interesting aspect to watch out for. If you quickly just pull up, what's happened with the markets and the way the street is reacting as well. If you see the screens as well, overall what's happening is it's an extremely choppy session. Apart from that, all the early gains that we had seen in the markets got erased in the last hour of trade. And as Alex was mentioning, the broader markets have continued to see strength day by day. Now, the key crux over there, Alex, that comes in from a broader market perspective is that are FIs losing interest in broader markets? Because what's happening is the valuations are peaking out for the mid caps and the small caps, right?
Yes.
So the flow of investment that was coming in from the FIs in the broader markets, that it's reached the peak and now it's started to taper off.
In fact,
so that's going to be interesting to watch out for from here on.
In fact, to that point, and it's very important, we've had quite a few conversations in the recent past on BQ Prime speaking about the interest in mid cap and small cap, and quite a few people coming in and saying that we are on the greed end of the scale rather than the fear end of the scale. And that is usually when you see out of 100 rupees, more than 50 rupees heading into mid cap and small cap. That's where we are right now. So that indicates that yes, if the domestic players are also saying that there is a little bit of greed on the street, then the foreign institutions are going to be wary.
Absolutely. So that's going to be interesting to watch out for what trend emerges from there on. But clearly, you are seeing investors which are resorting to profit taking in select counters, and this is very much ahead of the F&O expiry, which is slated today. And clearly, it's going to be a subdued trend with extreme volatility. That's the mix that everyone is watching out for from here on. Yesterday's session, you had the hospitality names that were in focus. So if you see names like IHCL, EIH, LTIMindtree, also gains in that range of 4 to 6%. And this is on the commencement of the World Cup bookings in India as well as the G20 event in Delhi, right? So that was the sentiment impact in terms of hospitality names. OMCs were under pressure, and this is on the back of the LPG price cuts. You had IOC, BPCL, HPCL, all these three names that were trading under pressure in yesterday's session. So these were two of the other themes that were playing out. Now, if you see in terms of the F&O data as well, you've seen, the call contracts are higher than the put contracts. And the highest put OI is seen at 19,300, whereas the highest called OI is seen at 19,500. So that's the kind of broad range that we have been watching out for. The PCR has gone down to a 0.92 from a 0.97. So overall, Alex, the range does remain narrow. Volatility is expected to remain high. And whether the FIs start losing interest in the broader markets and come back to the benchmarks, that will be the start of the actual rally. But if that does not happen, then the subdued sessions are going to continue.
I believe we are, in fact, also breaking of a streak of gains for the last several months, 4 series of gains, and now we're going to lose ground. So that's also something to bear in mind. We have sort of remained in that very tight range for the benchmark index, very close to that 19,300 mark. And the thing is that the indicators are that we may not very substantially move, at least in any direction as things stand, unless we get a major cue, which we haven't got right now. So let's jump straight into the stock-specific action. A lot of news updates coming in overnight. And we've got Saloni joining in to kick things off for us. Saloni, good morning. What do you have for on the list today?
Good morning. So first we've got Ajanta Pharma. So the specialty pharmaceutical formulation company has received final approval from the US FDA to market its topiramate extended release capsules. So topiramate is the generic version of Supernus Pharmaceuticals Trokendi XR. And as per a settlement with the company, Ajanta can launch topiramate on February 1 in 2026 or earlier under certain circumstances. Ajanta has also received 50 final ANDA approvals, out of which 41 are commercialized. Ajanta also holds 2 tentative approvals and 22 ANDAs are awaiting US FDA approvals. Next, we've got Dreamfolks Services that announced a strategic partnership with one of the leading visa service provider to offer premium lounges at visa centers and doorstep visa services. This partnership marks a significant milestone for Dreamfolks as clients have been eagerly awaiting the inclusion of visa services as a part of their offering to customers. The service offering will include premium lounges at visa centers across the country, which will provide end-to-end visa processing. Moreover, the doorstep visa services will allow customers to conveniently submit their visa applications from the comfort of their homes or offices. This service will increase the accessibility of visa services to Dreamfolks client card members located in any part of the country. Third, we've got Gensol Engineering. So the company received its in-principle approval from the NSE to issue 4 lakh odd equity shares at a price not less than rupees 1,480.08 a piece. The shares are to be issued to non-promoters for consideration other than cash on a preferential basis pursuant to share swap basis. And lastly, we got news on Zentech that just received an order worth rupees 72.29 crores from the Ministry of Defense in the morning.
Okay.
So a lot of names that we should be watching out for as well, specifically in terms of Gensol on the back of an order win. Thank you for getting us the details, Saloni. But moving on, you have the EMS sector now that continues to come in focus, and this is on the back of the IT incentive plan that has been rolled out by the government as well. Now, yes, you have a whole host of, I think it's a list of around 32 companies which are applying, which is a mix of international and domestic players. Varsha has more details. Varsha, what are you tracking for us specifically with regards to the PLI scheme?
So first, let us see what is the scheme and what is the total outlay that has been set up. So the total outlay is almost 70,000 crore, which was notified in May this year to boost local manufacturing of laptops, servers, and peripherals. Now, a special focus has been on making laptops and tablets locally. So 32 companies have been applied, but last night by 10:30, the number was risen to almost 38. So in total, 38 companies have applied for incentives, and there's an expected incremental production of rupees 3,35,000 crore over the tenure of the PLI scheme. Now, coming back to the names who have got who are the applicants. So among the Indian companies, we have Dixon Technology, then Sirma, SJS Technologies, then Keynes. And if we speak about the global companies, we have Foxconn, then HP, Lenovo are the global players that will be pursuing advantage. Now, like as you said, the EMS sector is one of the major beneficiary because of all of the companies. You take Dixon, you take Keynes or Sirma, SJS, they've been guiding over 25 to 30% sales growth. So a lot of opportunities are there for these companies.
Oh, certainly. And it's also interesting that Apple is not among that list of
They're
38 companies.
Foxconn, right?
Yeah, so it's Foxconn. But interesting to say that despite the fact that Apple is increasingly looking at India as a manufacturing hub, they're yet not to set their own facilities
So I
up.
think what Apple does follow that model as well, right?
To
From a business
Foxconn.
perspective, that they don't really manufacture, they're more of a software company as compared to a manufacturing company.
Absolutely. But also interesting to point out that this should be seen in the context of the import ban for laptops, which I think is the government's nudge to push these companies to set up manufacturing facilities.
I mean, Make in India does play out absolutely well.
Absolutely. So, and this is likely to therefore have a significant bearing on manufacturing going forward. Let's, in fact, move forward and talk about the rest of the stocks. I believe we have Varsha taking more stocks. Varsha, what do you have on your list?
So few stocks that one should watch out. So first is Bharat Heavy Electricals. Now, the company has secured an order for setting up 1600 megawatt supercritical thermal power project stage 2 in Chhattisgarh through international competitive bidding. Now, the deal entails designing, engineering, manufacture, supply, construction, and erection testing and commissioning with civil and structural works for the EPC project. Time period by which these orders need to be executed. So unit 1 within 48 months and unit 2 within 52 months. Then we have Rail Vikas Nigam. So this company has got this company has got many orders. So now Rail Vikas Nigam has emerged as one of the lowest bidder for various projects of Maharashtra, which includes a metro rail corporation. Then projects are 6 elevated metro stations, elevated metro track. The total project cost is around 256 crore. Then we have Andhra paper. Now, Andhra Pradesh Pollution Control Board has approved consent to operate and hazardous waste authorization to include precipitated calcium carbonate process. Now, this is to ensure efficient carbon capture and reuse, which will reduce carbon emission. Now, this process yields lower paper production costs and improves the paper opacity, bulk, and brightness. There's no additional paper and pulp production capacity that is to be increased.
Right. So a lot of names that again we will be watching out for as well. Specifically from an order one, BHEL is going to be interesting in today's session as well. Thank you, Varsha, for getting us the details. But moving on, the bulk and block deals do continue. And the kind of names we've been seeing, Alex, is phenomenon, because yesterday as well, it was around 7 to 8 companies I saw where there have happened major trades that have happened. In fact, Rishi standing by to highlight what have been the key ones, and who are the buyers and the sellers?
Absolutely. In fact, Zomato is an important stock. The stock was quite active yesterday. It rose by 5.3%, and the volumes were at 4 times its 30-day average. Now, this was because SVF Growth finally sold the 10 crore shares for 94.7 apiece. And while Morgan Stanley Asia, it bought about another 0.26% stake, SocGen bought 0.27% stake, and Axis Mutual Fund bought another 52.4 lakh shares. Then coming to the bulk deals, we have Z Entertainment, where Quant Mutual Fund sold 3.9 lakh shares for 437.6 apiece. Then there's Hindustan Construction, where HRTI Private both bought as well as sold some shares. So it bought 1.24 crore shares at 28.7 and sold 1.2 crore shares at a similar price. Then we have Ratan India Power, where Aditya Birla ARC, it sold 4.1 crore shares for 6.25 rupees a piece. Now, this is the third consecutive day of bulk deals, by the ARC, with a total stake of 2.55% that has been sold by the ARC this week. The ARC still holds about 7.8% stake in the company, so we may need to look out for whether or not it sells more stake. Then we have Shakti Pumps, where NK Securities Research has sold 1.5 lakh shares for 821 rupees. We have QE Securities, which sold 0.6% stake at 817 rupees a piece. And there's Graviton Research Capital, which sold about 2 lakh shares for 801 a piece. Then we have Spandana Spooty Financial as well, where Valiant's Mauritius as well as India Fund, it sold about a total of 35 lakh shares. And on the buyer side, there was Max Life Insurance Company as well as Kotak Mahindra Life that bought shares at 765 rupees a piece. Then we have, regarding block deals to look out for today, we have Sula Vineyards, where the block deal is expected at a base price of 473 rupees. And the deal is expected to be at a discount of 0 to 7% with regards to yesterday's closing of 508.7 rupees. The deal size is also pretty huge, about 61 to 65 million US dollars. So the Sula Vineyards is an important stock to look out for today.
Certainly. Okay. So, and quite a few reactions to those bunch trades as well, as we like to call them.
And with Sula as well, it is the festive season, and they've been making absolute business updates with the kind of volumes and business that they've been generating as well with regards to the long weekends and long holidays.
Well, there's certainly something that we should look at in more detail, and perhaps Rishi can get us more updates once he studies those volume details. But thanks so much, Rishi, for joining in. Lots of action in the primary market as well, Hiral, and I think this is par for the course. Whenever you see a buzz in the market and things are looking up, you see a lot of companies that look to raise capital, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. We've got Mihika joining in to tell us about a couple of companies. Let's start with Aeroflex. It's set to list today, and quite an interesting listing at that. A lot of interest, a lot of marquee names. What can you tell us about it so far?
So the IPO, the company will list today, and the IPO is live from August 22nd to 24th. It's a stainless steel hoses manufacturer, and and the IPO was a 315 crore IPO, and the final issue price that was set was 108 rupees per share. The IPO was subscribed at 97.11 times, making it the third most subscribed IPO of 2023. In terms of growth, the company's revenue has risen 82% 22% from FY21 till FY23. Its operating margins has also improved to 20% in FY23 versus 15% in FY21. And on the net profit margin side, the margin has also improved around 2.67 times to 11.20% in FY23 versus 4.20% in FY21. The company has also reduced its debt to equity ratio in the past year from 0.9 in FY22 to 0.39 in FY23. And when you calculate its P on the upper price band, the P stands at rupees 100 and the P stands at 48.87 on the upper price band of 108 rupees.
Right, so that's with regards to Aeroflex. It's going to be interesting because any which ways the allotment has happened at the upper price band of 108, and actually there are no like-to-like peers in the listed space for Aeroflex as well. So probably it's going to be interesting to watch out for that one. But apart from that, Mika, we have another one which is Rishabh Instruments, where the IPO is ongoing right now. What is the subscription data indicating so far?
So the IPO for Rishabh Instruments went live yesterday and will be open till tomorrow, September 1st. It's a 490.8 crore IPO, which was subscribed 73% on day one, with the subscription led by non-institutional investors who subscribed 1.24 times. Retail investors subscribed 92%, while institutional subscribed 1%. The company also raised 147.2 crores from its anchor investors ahead of its IPO. A little bit about the company. The company is a global energy efficiency solutions provider and a manufacturer of precision engineered items. The company is also known for its high pressure die castings made from aluminum through its subsidiary Lumel Alucast, which is also very popular in Poland. The ongoing IPO's total issue price, as I mentioned before, is 490.8 crores and consists of a fresh issue of 75 crores and an offer for sale for 415.8 crores. The company's revenue has grown 46% from FY21 to FY23. However, its EBITDA net margin both have declined in FY23 compared to its 22 and 21 levels.
All right. Thanks so much, Mihika, for getting us those updates. We've discussed quite a few stocks, and there's a lot of action lined up. As we pointed out at the start, it is monthly expiry, so expect to see quite a bit of action in the markets today. You'll find all of those updates on the website bqprime.com and on the social media platforms, so do check in over the course of the day. Stay tuned. This is BQ Prime.